This week on Inside the NFL, we're in Dallas to discuss the most compelling question entering the NFL playoffs. Can the Cowboys win a third straight Super Bowl? Among those joining us will be owner Jerry Jones, running back Emmitt Smith, defensive end Charles Haley, and quarterback Troy Aikman.
I feel that after this week getting a bye, that these guys are going to be rejuvenated and this team's going to come out and play with the intensity that we've all grown to know.
And the former leader of the Cowboys, Jimmy Johnson, who knows this team better than anyone.
And I don't think this team has improved. I don't think that they've gotten better. They don't have the intensity week in, week out, and I think that's one reason they've had breakdowns on special teams.
Right.
They're not converting offensively on third down, and then defensively they're not as solid.
And highlights of all season-ending games, including the Vikings division-clinching contest on the final Monday night.
Only babies get what they want all the time. Men gotta do it the hard way. Oh, yeah. And we got nothing but men in this room.
Hopes.
Got to win this one. It's on the line today. It's all season right here. We want to go forward to the playoffs. It's going to be tough, but I think we can do it, though.
We're going to bring out the polar broom. We're going to go on and sweep the NFC East today. First time ever being done. Undefeated all the way through. Taking this thing on down to Miami, starting today.
We're going to take our respect today. It don't matter. Win, lose, or draw, we're going to beat their ass today. We're getting after them every play. Somebody getting whooped today. Somebody getting whooped.
If the pregame banners seemed a little hyperbolic, the pace was positively hyperactive. But the Cowboys' hopes for a sweet season sweep quickly soured.
It ain't over yet.
Thanks to two big plays.
Round back, looking left. Good protection. Zips it over the middle. Caught by the wide receiver running away from Jones to the 30. Mike Sherrard on Robert Jones to the 20, to the 10, to the goal line. It's touchdown Giants.
Mike Sherrard's nifty catch and run was followed by Jesse Armstead's brutal blitz and bury.
He blitz. They sack him. It's fumbled. It's loose in the end zone, and the Giants recover over the back line.
Despite winning their final 6 games, the Giants didn't make the playoffs, but they may have made some believers.
I told you when we was 3-7, it wasn't over. The heart goes to show you can accomplish anything. I mean, we're probably not going to make the playoffs, but it's an effort, baby. It's an effort. It shows you the heart and the character of this football team.
Tampa Bay may be accustomed to losing games, but losing the entire franchise is too much for even the most angelic fans. What a difference a Bay makes, however, as Green Bay was looking for a trip to the playoffs.
Guys onside, get your depth. Get your depth. Think 30-yard line, at least a 30. It'll be to the goal line now, the kick. To the house, baby. To the house. Let's go. Go with speed. Go with speed. Right, alert, convert. 1, 2, 3, go. Do what you gotta do.
Playing your best when it matters most is the mark of a champion. And with the postseason at stake, the Packers looked every bit the part. Using synchronized precision and an inexorable assault, Green Bay started the scoring early and simply ran away from the Bucs. Edgar Bennett's 39-yard touchdown run was the Packers' longest of the season, but it was the two men who have done it all season long who put the game away for Green Bay.
Let's go home.
Third down and goal for the Packers. Can't let these opportunities get away. They looping it, a fade to Sharp. Sterling Sharp on a little.
No time to rest now, baby.
And here is Favre, straight back in the pocket. Here they come. He just gets rid of it to the corner. Touchdown! Sterling Sharp! Oh, no! The Packers. Here's Brett Favre rolling to the right. Favre looking. Takes it to the end zone now. Touchdown! Touchdown! Sterling Sharp. Sharp just standing in the end zone, catches it, and that is a new Packer record for touchdown. touchdowns in a single season, thrown by Favre and caught by Sharp.
The Packers will have to play it on an even sharper edge this Saturday as they host the Lions, but they'll have to do it without Sterling Sharp, who will miss the game with a neck injury.
Okay, great job. We made it. We're in the playoffs. Was I going to give you Christmas Day off? Yeah.
Along with All-Pro guard Nate Newton, one of the biggest, I mean biggest reasons for the success of the Cowboys.
I was working at my dad's filling station in high school, and the guy came and said, "Yo, Nate, remember the time I beat you up in elementary?" And something clicked. I told him, I said, "Homie," I said, "right now, me and you." I was like standing to the side of him. When he did that, I just shot him, man. Yeah, and dropped him.
It's probably safe to assume that every bully was at one time bullied. But at 336 pounds, it's hard to imagine anyone ever harassing Nate Newton. But as a skinny kid growing up in Orlando, Florida, that's exactly what happened.
A lot of times I used to come home beat up, crying, and I used to pray to God, man. He said, "Hey, man, one day I'm gonna be bigger than everybody. Then I'm gonna bring me a little heat." I used to pray, "I'm gonna be bigger than everybody. God, let me be big."
Nate's prayers were answered, and he spent his early college days at Florida A&M retaliating and bullying anyone who got in his way.
I went off to college young, 17, man. I was just out there talking about people, messing with people, bullying people, you know.
It's a past his wife finds difficult to imagine.
You know, at first, I mean, I just couldn't believe it. I said, no way, you know, and then more and more as time went on, I realized that he did live a past such as, you know, what he talks about all the time. I'm just glad he experienced those times. They're in the past, and now we can enjoy each other for what he is today.
It took Newton nearly his entire college career to shed that Darth Vader image. Yet the force that's with him now has made Nate Newton one of the most likable characters in the entire National Football League. A 9-year veteran with the Cowboys, Newton's weight and size worked against him in the early years.
When I first came to Dallas, you know, I was a joke. The media used to, Nate weighed this, he was like a Weight Watch. I started using it, you know, giving them one line of fat jokes or whatever they needed. You know, and everybody started liking me, the fans started liking me. Then Coach Johnson came in. He said, "Hey, this guy can play football."
His performance at left guard this season has earned Nate his 3rd consecutive Pro Bowl selection, and that selection gives Nate the license he needs to be outspoken without being a bully.
One thing I learned about this league, if you can ball and you can go to them Pro Bowls, you can voice your opinion. But know that day when you can't play no more, your opinion don't count no more.
And now the fat jokes are behind him. Well, almost behind him.
Only thing that bothered me back then is they would put the bigness ahead of the athletic ability of the football player, and that's what made me mad. Now they put the football player first, and then they poke the fun. So it's all going my way, man. Like I tell people, man, even when something bad happened to me, it's good because it always put me in front of the camera.
Look at that. Can you look at that?
Hey, ooh. That's a Pro Bowl Tommy, though.
Say, ooh.
Tell that's a Pro Bowl Tommy.
That's got to be a pass play.
No, I got a bad neck. If I'm a jam it, I want to jam it hitting you going forward.
Because he never lost touch with reality, Newton savors the many Christmas gifts he receives now that he didn't receive as a child, opening only a few each day and saving the last for New Year's Day. Now the mean old bully has turned into an emotional and heartfelt man who has turned his life into one big happy ending.
Oh, Lord, I always wanted a harmonica, man. Look at check this out. Good night, John, boy.
Nate, I always said it, the more things you can do, not only are you a great blocker, but you're a great harmonica player. A guy that he's blocked for and made some happy moments happen is Emmitt Smith, the great running back from the Dallas Cowboys. He's with us now. Emmitt, the hamstring, how's it coming?
It's coming along fine. Today is going to be probably the first day that I had an opportunity to run on it, besides running through Atlanta's airport the other night. But I feel like I'm going to be able to do a little bit of something today for this week.
You know, Troy Aikman, the last 3 ball games, 1 touchdown pass, 4 interceptions. Doesn't look like he's playing very well. Going into the playoffs, does this concern you at all?
No, actually, it really don't. I feel like he's going to be fine. I mean, he came out throwing the ball well against the Giants, and then I don't think he threw any interceptions in the Giants game, and except for the 1 snap, fumble snap. So, and even in the New Orleans game, he looked pretty good darting the ball around also. So, I'm minded, if you take away some of the interceptions and so forth, I think Troy is back fine. And I mean, we as running backs and wide receivers have to do a better job of running routes. And Irvin's been nicked up, so Irvin can't get out the break as quickly as he wants to. So it's kind of like putting the ball up in the air and giving the defensive player time to get on it.
Now, we talked to Troy a little bit about the different coaching styles of Jimmy Johnson and Barry Switzer. And Barry does have that laid-back style. Troy always concerned a little bit about the fact that maybe some of the players were taking advantage of Barry's style of play.
Well,
do you think that's happening?
Some of them might be taking advantage of it, and but I can't sit here and point fingers and say which ones are taking advantage of it. Even myself may take advantage of it every now and then. But I feel like the bottom line is when you get on the football field and when you get on that practice field, you better go out there prepared and practice and work hard to get better as a team as well as an individual. If you don't do those things, when it comes time to performing, you're not going to be able to perform. Granted, we are injured. Some of us are injured and some of us are not. And the ones that are not injured need to go out and try to do the best that they can anyway to help this team win ball games, because the injured guy is going to definitely go out there and play. I'm not going to leave my team out of limbo. If I can perform, I'm going to go out there and play.
And what about the intensity level? Can you guys, just sort of just turn it on and turn it off? You're going into the playoffs now, and you guys have not played with intensity. It didn't look that way the last few ball games.
I think that we can not necessarily turn it on and turn it off, but I think when it comes time to the big ones, which we are ready to play with, the playoff games, ain't no doubt in my mind that we can definitely tune it up and definitely turn it on and continue to play. But it's not no thing such as turning it on and turning it off. You got to look at this team. I mean, we've been in more games in the past 2 years than anybody in the league except for Buffalo. And this team is mentally tired as well as physically tired. So, this week right here has given us an opportunity to get rested mentally as well as physically, and give us an opportunity to get that hunger back, and especially what we know what's on the line now.
Emmett, good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you.
Back to you, Lenny.
All right, Nick, thank you very much. And all you Dallas fans, relax out there, because Emmett says he's going to be okay. Troy Aikman's going to be okay when they get started for the playoffs.
Yeah, but he did hit on something, though, about Michael Irvin. And all year we've debated, is it Troy or is it Emmett really the key to this offensive football team? But we've seen over the last couple of weeks, without a healthy Michael Irvin, Troy hasn't been as sharp, the running game hasn't been as good, and Alvin Harper has basically disappeared. He really is one of the focal points for this offense.
Yeah, Chris, but we talk about the injuries. I don't think this team is any more injured now as what they were a year ago. I think Emmett really touched on one thing, though. He said mentally they needed a rest. And I believe that's true, because this has been a very draining year for them mentally. And I think with a week off, I think they'll come back for that first playoff game ready to play.
Well, they're going to need that, because my opinion is when you start talking about things, it's on your mind, and they're talking about injuries and all these other things that can be a distraction. So the week off, that better help them, because what happens if they fall behind early and they say, well, we can pump it up whenever we want to? Maybe they will not be able to do that.
It's called excuses.
It's called excuses.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, ladies and gentlemen, on Christmas night, the NFL presented one last gift to unwrap. Barry Sanders going for 2,000 yards with the Lions and Dolphins fighting for their playoff seedings.
At stake for Dan Marino and the Dolphins, the division title, and all they had to do was a little lion taming. So Miami got right to it last Sunday, marching downfield on their first possession. Marino's 31-yard pass to Keith Jackson helped set up Bernie Parmalee for a 1-yard touchdown.
Marino to Parmalee, off left tackle. He's in! Touchdown, Dolphins! All right, Miami, what a way to start the football game.
In the first half, Miami was king of the jungle on defense as well, limiting Detroit to only 17 total yards. 11, Barry Sanders was stopped short as the Dolphins preyed on him every play.
You see him, you just stay where you're supposed to be. I know, but don't guess. Don't know. Don't spin. Right guard. If you don't see him, just stay where you are. I mean, he's the kind of guy to come right back to you. Yeah.
Miami's offense kept coming right back to the end zone. After Parmalee scored a second time, Irving Fryer's 38-yard catch set up a third opportunity.
Come on now. That's what we wanted right here. That's what we wanted right here.
First and goal from the 5. Handoff to Parmalee off left tackle. He's in! Touchdown, Dolphins!
This is a big-time butt kicking going on here.
Merry Christmas, baby. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. You know what I'm saying? Merry Christmas. And we got plenty more where that came from. Let's go.
The Dolphins really didn't have a lot more on offense, but they did have a 21-point lead until the Lions finally began to roar, starting with Johnny Morton's 93-yard kickoff return.
Morton to the 30, Morton to the near side, 35, Morton down the sideline, 50, 45, 40, 35, 30, 25, 20, 15. Johnny Morton has just taken it for the touchdown.
A 5-yard touchdown pass to Aubrey Matthews pulled Detroit to within 7.
There's touchdown Lions, Aubrey Matthews.
Miami's defense needed to step up as the clock was running down.
All right, down the lane, pursuit.
When Detroit went on the prowl again, Miami finally caged the Lions once and for all.
Throws down the left sideline. It is jarred out of there. Was it intercepted? All right! Miami came up with a ball.
Michael Stewart's interception guaranteed the Dolphins the AFC East title, but Wayne Font's team still made the playoffs.
Good luck. Hope to see you again. Yeah, I hope so.
Miami will play Kansas City on Saturday.
Congratulations, division champs. We're going to play at home next week, and we got to be happy about that.
While the Dolphins were happy in Miami, the Chiefs spent Christmas Eve in L.A. In a matchup of 2 playoff pursuers, only one could survive. The game promised to be an intimidation fest, typical of this bitter rivalry. But on the 5th snap of the first quarter, Joe Montana demonstrated otherwise.
Montana throwing long, has a man open, Willie Davis, 10-5, touchdown Kansas City Chiefs!
This crucial game turned on one important play.
10 for the Raiders at the Chief 28, 12 seconds left to go in the half, 7-3 Kansas City. Hostetler to throw, looking to the right side, pass is intercepted by Collins, he's at the 30, he's at the 40, at the 50, at the 40, 35, 30, 25, 20, Mark Collins, the free agent pickup in the offseason, nails the Raiders with a 77-yard interception return for a touchdown. What a way to end the half!
In the second half, the Chiefs continued to dominate, knocking Jeff Hostetler out of the game late in the final quarter. Vince Evans entered, and on his first play, salvaged some respect.
He's throwing long. He's looking for Alexander Wright. He's got the catch. Touchdown Raiders. The first play from scrimmage for Vince Evans.
The loss was the Raiders' 10th in its last 11 games with the Chiefs and eliminated them from the playoffs. Kansas City's invitation to the postseason dance is their 5th in 5 years, a fact that's a definite source of pride to Marty Schottenheimer, their head coach.
One of the things we're very proud of is the fact that we're the only team in the National Football League that has qualified for the playoffs each year in the 90s, and I think that's quite an achievement.
Now we're with the man who makes that Dallas Cowboy defense really hum, All-Pro defensive end, Charles Haley. Charles, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
You have 4 Super Bowl rings, 2 with San Francisco, 2 with the Dallas Cowboys. But as you look at this team this year, do you think it's good enough to win the 3rd Super Bowl championship?
Well, I think the biggest thing that people overlook is that the chemistry here is the same chemistry that's been here for the last 2 years. And we haven't added on any new players. It's just the same group of guys. And what the difference is this year, guys just got to just come together and stop put personal things behind them and come together and play football. And that's probably the biggest thing. You know, I told them before the season started, on this road for 3-peat, it's going to be the toughest road ever. And we've been struggling a little bit, but we've been finding ways to win. And the name of this game is to find ways to win.
Now, we talked to Troy, and he was a little concerned that because of Barry Switzer's laid-back attitude, a little different than Jimmy Johnson, who was a little bit more intense, that some of the players were not working as hard this year and were taking advantage of the system. Do you see that happening?
Well, one of the things I always try to do is, before I can talk about anybody else, I got to get that log out of my own eye. So, you know, before people can start pointing fingers at other guys on the team, they need to look at themselves really hard. And I just think that we as a team, everybody on the team needs to work a little bit harder. And you can't just pick out one person. And regardless of whether Barry Switzer is laid back or not, he doesn't have to take one down or make one play out there on the field. And players got to realize that, you know, I respect Barry Switzer for what he's done to this team. I respect the way he's treated players on this team. And, you know, I have nothing negative to say about him. And guys just got to grow up, you know.
Charles, listen, you got playoffs coming up. Good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you.
Back to you, Lenny.
They've been talking about the laid-back attitude of Barry Switzer, but hey, Charles Haley, at least when he's talking to Nick Buoniconti, really is laid back, but he does not play that way.
No, he does not. I was a sideline reporter a couple of years ago for the Super Bowl, and Charles Haley got off the team bus and he went around to the back door to try to get in the locker room, and it was locked. He went berserk. He was kicking his. I thought he was going to eat this thing down. On game day, Charles Haley's there ready to play.
Hey, Chris, not only on game day, on the practice field. I think he really has an influence on all the rest of those players on the practice field because he is intense. That's one reason why we traded for him. And you look at the team, I think about 20% of them are self-motivated, like a Charles Haley. The other 80%, I think they need a kick in the rear end to get to where they want to go.
Yeah, quarterbacks hate people like Charles Haley because not only motivates him
in the rear end,
he's kicking the quarterbacks in the rear end. Talk about Charles Haley. He might be the dominant defensive player in the NFC, but the conference's best defensive team may reside in Arizona.
In Atlanta, Buddy Ryan was one win away from delivering on his promise of a winning season and a chance to make the playoffs.
Time to take care of business, baby. Time to take care of business. It's on the line here today. It's on the line. It's on the line today. Ain't nothing to it but to do it.
Hey, who we play today? Oh, we play Buddy Ball today. Buddy Ball. Buddy Ball. Hey, get that ball out of there next time. Get that ball out of there. It's a touchdown.
Buddy Ball sends all kinds of blitzers after the quarterback, hoping to outnumber the blockers and create turnovers. But Buddy Ball is a gambling game, and if a blocking scheme can be devised to defuse it, this defense can be burned.
Here's what it was. Hey, look, hey. Packers moving the hole. They brought 7 guys, Jeff. So they went like this and they went like this. They're bringing this guy here off the edge, him here, and him here. So we're going to be absorbed taking those two, right, Rome? That guy comes here, you step here, he's coming, running, get him, he gets him. The back's guy here, and we're in the hole.
First down 10, Jeff George looking, fires far sideline, wide open for Emmanuel. He could be gone. Kispert, bye-bye, touchdown.
Ryan's defense puts pressure on the secondary, and Terry Hogue felt the air go out when Jeff George pierced it with a perfect pass.
I got time. He doesn't put any air under it, I got no time. It's my fault. They were going to get one anyway. They were going to get one anyway. That's right. We'll pick it up.
One would be quite enough, however, even though the centerpiece in the Cardinals' offense, Larry Centers, was his usual self. Despite Centers' customary good effort, the Cardinals trailed 10-6 with just 28 seconds left when Jay Schrader hit Gary Clark for 40 yards, and the game came down to...
One play, 3 seconds left from the 1-yard line. Schrader, hands off, forward, didn't get in! He didn't get in!
In actuality, the Giants' victory had ended the Cardinals' season, but for one old pro, an entire career was over. After 17 years, Mike Ken, one of the good guys, called it quits.
I tell you, you know, that's a real signature on our season. I mean, instead of losing it at the end, we come up to play to win it. And that's unbelievable, and that's a credit to you guys. And that'll take you someplace next year. Just remember it. Thank you.
Yeah!
Whoever said it's lonely at the top has obviously never been to Anaheim Stadium. The smallest crowd of the NFL season showed up to see if the cellar-dwelling Rams could win what might be the last game in their 49-year LA history. Against the Skins, it didn't look good.
40. Bye-bye. He's gone. 40. Down the stretch he goes to the 20, the 10, the 5. Touchdown with a swung down.
The Skins finished 3-13, their lowest win total since 1963. While they were dreaming of the future in D.C., in Cincinnati they were honoring the past. Lineman Tim Krumrie cruised into retirement in grand style. But it was Herschel Walker who motored his way into the NFL record book. No player in NFL history has recorded 3 plays of over 90 yards in the same season, 3 different ways. Herschel had the run, he had the pass, he needed the return.
45 midfield, Herschel's at the 40, at the 30, at the 20. Herschel Walker is going coast to coast with a touchdown!
Trailing in the 4th quarter, Jeff Blake cut the Eagle lead to 3.
Oh, it is caught for a touchdown. Oh, McGee, his first.
The Bengals later tied the game on a last-second field goal, and with only 3 seconds left, it looked like overtime.
Johnson's kick is down the center of the field. And it'll be fielded by one of the up guys who fumbled the football. The Bengals have it. And we'll see exactly. They do have it. Yes.
Brian O'Neill's bungle in the jungle gave Doug Pelfrey a chance to win it from 54 yards away.
Teams line up and set the ball. A snap, place down and voted. High and up, deep and up, and oh! Oh! Oh my gosh! Doug Pelfrey!
There's no better way to end the season than with a W, a fact not lost on veterans like the Broncos' Carl Mecklenburg.
I want to hear this too. Last game of the year is the one you remember all off season. Let's remember some good things about it, all right?
Let's take it to the house, fellas. Take it to the house. Go, baby.
Backers on 3 now. 1, 2, 3, backers.
In his final game, the retiring Mecklenburg did his best to come up big. Unfortunately for him, Jim Everett came up small.
Guns it over the middle. Small makes the catch. He's running away from folks to the 10. 5. He's in for the touchdown. Torrance Small turns on.
Still, the Broncos refuse to die.
Clark straight ahead, and he's in for the touchdown.
Oh, yeah! Strong right! Strong right! Strong right!
With the Broncos gaining ground, Everett again thought small.
Guns it over the middle, and Small's got it again. It's another foot race, and he may go. He's to the 25, the 20, the 10, the 5. He's going all the way for the Saints touchdown.
Then the Saints D applied the finishing touches. The Broncos and Saints both finished 7-9, respectable, with room for improvement.
Here we are at Valley Ranch with the brain trust of the Dallas Cowboys owner Jerry Jones and head coach Barry Switzer. Barry, take over 2-time Super Bowl champion. You have an avalanche of injuries, yet you go 12-4. But as you look back on the regular season, is there anything that you would have changed?
Well, we'd like to win a few more games, but I think that obviously to be the position we're in and have 2 games to play for the Super Bowl, I think anyone would take that. A bye at home is in a great situation, and that's the 2nd season within a season. That's where we should be.
Jerry, Barry's coaching a little differently than Jimmy Johnson's, a little bit more laid-back style. Do you think he's been tough enough on the players?
Oh, I do. Barry came in here with tremendous respect. These players recognize him. It's what he brought to the table. If you will, the 4th winningest coach in the history of college football. He had that respect when he walked in. It's something when someone with that kind of reputation steps out and has the manner and the way he engaged our team the way Barry has done. It's been A+.
Barry, you've been preparing a little bit for San Francisco, but the way the team has played the last 3 or 4 ball games, I mean, it hasn't played as well as it should have played. Do you think you're taking Minnesota or Green Bay lightly?
Well, you know, we had a meeting this morning, staff and players, about that, the psychological or subconscious effect that would have on us. This game is the biggest game of the season. That is the focus we had about playing whoever it might be. yes, on the peripheral. Everyone knows San Francisco looms and the Super Bowl, but that will take care of itself. The emotion, the excitement goes with that will take care of itself. This is the biggest game, and I agree with you. All attention has to be at this next weekend.
Jerry, I look at the salary cap, and I look at Michael Irvin, probably be a franchise player. You have to pay Aikman and Smith. Then I look at what happened to the Buffalo Bills. They paid their star players, but yet they had to dismantle the offensive line, the secondary. They're not even in the playoffs. Do you think you can manage the salary cap to keep Dallas on top?
I do. And it's because we've been planning on the salary cap for years. When I got here in 1989, we started operating as though we were under a salary cap then. We're a younger team than Buffalo was going into this year. And we planned on doing what it took to keep a Michael Irvin. Certainly we're in a system that you can't have everything, but those indispensable players, those people that are the heart and soul of this team, we're going to keep.
One thing I can tell you guys is that I'm never going to sell a Dallas Cowboys short. Good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nick.
Back to you, Lenny.
All right, gentlemen, thank you very much. Did you notice that Jimmy's old owner was there, that Jerry Jones? Looked pretty good.
They used to be college roommates.
Arkansas, absolutely. In fact, I think at one time they exchanged Christmas gifts.
Yeah, Jerry gave Jimmy his first job. I remember all
I do that.
Stuff, yeah.
What about that sweater? Is that a Christmas gift from Jerry?
No, Jerry gave me about 2 million Christmas gifts when I left. That was my gift.
I understand that.
No, wait a minute now. But Jerry gave Barry an A+ for his efforts.
Right.
What would you like to give Jerry?
Well, what I would give Jerry would not be gradable.
What size shoe do you wear?
Hello.
I understand that. That's right. Jerry Jones said that his coach is doing an A+ job, but was Seattle's owner saying the same thing about Tom Flores?
Smiles quickly disappeared last Saturday in Cleveland for Tom Flores and the Seahawks, who were buried like dog bones by the Browns right from the start. The attack commenced on the ground as Eric Metcalf's 6-yard touchdown run gave Cleveland a lead it would never relinquish. Also in on the scoring was quarterback Vinny Testaverde, who rushed for 1 touchdown and threw for 2 others.
Testaverde, play action. He rolls right, steps up, throws for Carrier, end zone, wide open, touchdown Browns, 35 yards. Testaverde to Carrier.
Bill Belichick's Browns will now get ready to host the Patriots in an AFC wildcard showdown. It will be the second meeting this year between pupil and master. The master being New England coach Bill Parcells, whose Patriots braved the elements last Saturday and rang some holiday bells, specifically those of the Chicago Bears. On offense, Drew Bledsoe once again was the catapult from which the Patriots' attack launched itself. Although not spectacular, Bledsoe was efficient, saving his best for last. His lone touchdown pass, a bullet to Leroy Thompson, came late in the game and sealed the Patriots' victory.
Bledsoe back to throw. Looks, fires, end zone, touchdown to Leroy Thompson. Boy, he put it in there perfectly.
With their 8-year playoff drought finally over, the Patriots celebrated with a downpour. And like monsoon season, Bill Parcells will hope for another 4 weeks of Gatorade showers. First up on their postseason agenda will be a visit to the Dog Pound in Cleveland on Sunday.
Well, we just saw the Patriots celebrating, justifiably so. They're in the playoffs for the first time since '86. They've won 7 in a row. That's a club record. But, Chris, more importantly, they've won the last 2 games on the road. That should really help them this week when they go to Cleveland to take on the Browns in that Dog Pound.
Yeah, but the last team to beat them, the Cleveland Browns, and I was there at that ball game, and the real key that first time around, Carl Banks was able to take Ben Coates completely out of the game. He jammed at the line of scrimmage, really frustrated him down the field. He was a non-factor, and Drew Bledsoe looked lost.
Well, if they don't have Ben Coates, they don't have a running game as well. The last week against Chicago, they had 10 yards rushing in the second half. And without a running game, without Ben Coates, it's Drew Bledsoe going up against one of the better defensive teams in the league, especially in the secondary with Eric Turner having 9 interceptions.
You want to talk defense? How about the Patriots? You know, in the last 5 games, they have not given up a touchdown in the second half. This could be a low-scoring game. Chris, who do you think is going to win?
Well, I think the Cleveland Browns are one of the best route-reading teams in all the National Football League. They know where those receivers are going on the field, and Bill Belichick has a real feel for that tight end fullback game that Bill Parcells likes, especially in cold weather games. I think the Browns win.
Yeah, I agree with you with the Browns because of the Cleveland defense and because Leroy Hoard will give them the power running game, especially in bad weather. That'll give them enough points to win.
Let's talk about bad weather. You know, Leroy's a good back, but he does put the ball on the ground. He's fumbled 5 times in the last 8 ball games. Testaverde, he will throw it up for grabs. The Patriots are the best team in the league in forcing turnovers. I think the game is going to get down to a turnover, and I think the New England Patriots will win it. You know, the last of the 224 regular season games took place in Minnesota, where the NFC Central still had to be decided.
Last Monday, in a must-win to gain the NFC Central crown, the Vikings rose to the occasion. Not content with stopping San Francisco's potent offense, Minnesota's defense wanted to put points on the board.
Steve Young at quarterback, hands off to Ricky Waters, fumble! Vikings should be able to pick it up and maybe run it all the way back in. Touchdown for Minnesota as it's picked up by Dwayne Washington.
Led by Sean Salisbury, the Vikings offense did just enough to edge the Niners.
Diving into the end zone, gets the touchdown for the Vikings.
Minnesota is champion of the NFC Central and must face division rival Chicago this week. But last week they were simply content to savor victory.
You know, I knew I can count on you. Way to go. Thank you. Hey, Ford. 2 times in 3 years. Tricked them 2 times. It's supposed to be a rebuilding year. Tricked them again. Didn't agree. Tricked them again.
This is really what it's all about because our #1 objective back in July was to win the Central Championship. We were able to do that. So we got that one goal down. The second goal was to advance in the playoffs. And so that's where it starts. We're seeded #3. That's a very good place to be because we open at home. Now what we got to do is what we showed signs of doing today is play our style of football. With 11 guys flying around, whether it's special teams, whether it's defense or offense. You got to be able to do those type of things to win. Great effort, good week, good job bouncing back. And I'm going to tell you something, men. Only babies get what they want all the time. Men got to do it the hard way. Oh, yeah. And we got nothing but men in this room.
Like barbarians poised at the gates of Rome, the Colts last week swept away the remnants of the once mighty Bills dynasty. With F2 Indianapolis on their lips, Buffalo fell as one Colt touchdown was all it took to defeat them.
Fires in the left corner of the end zone. Touchdown! Great catch over the shoulder by Floyd Turner.
The Oilers have laid down their heads in submission 14 times this year, and last week seemed ready for more of the same. But a 3-yard plunge by Lorenzo White helped Houston to their second win of the season.
To the right side, low. White powers his way in for the touchdown.
Good job.
Yeah.
The Jets end the season having dropped 5 in a row to finish at 6-10.
I couldn't ask for a better day. Made a better team win. Go Chargers! Merry Christmas! Merry Christmas!
Last Sunday, Santa brought big play excitement to San Diego.
Andre Coleman at the 10, goes straight ahead to the 15, to the 20, finds a seam round the corner to the 30, streaks to midfield, down the sidelines to the 30, to the 20, he will score!
The Steelers were able to stay in the game as rookie Charles Johnson caught 2 touchdown passes.
And on the run, he throws it for the end zone, and it's caught by Charles Johnson for the leaping touchdown. Looks left, nothing there, fires it right. Pass complete. Charles Johnson breaks into the clear. He's at the 40, the 50. Charles Johnson is going to go all the way. He is going, gone. 84 yards for CJ.
And I'm telling you, Charles Johnson broke 2 tackles along the way.
With tough defense, San Diego regained the momentum. Natron Means' 2 touchdown runs helped San Diego to a 34-34 tie.
They give it to Means, got the first down to the 15, to the 10, to the 5. He scores! Touchdown, San Diego!
With time running out, it was up to John Carney to secure a first week bye.
Snap, down, kick, off. It is good! It is over! Show me your lightning bolt!
Both teams have this week off to prepare for the playoffs. This week on Inside the NFL, Green Bay quarterback Brett Favre prepares for the biggest game of his career without his favorite target.
Psychologically, I think it's even been, I don't want to say an advantage to us, but all of a sudden we're practicing better, guys are excited, we're in the playoffs, and everyone says, hey, you know, let's go out and just have a little bit of fun.
The Chicago Bears won their first playoff road game since Super Bowl 20 and now face a date in San Francisco. Quarterback Steve Walsh joins us to discuss the challenge.
We feel like we have an opportunity to win if we go out there and do the things that we've done well all season offensively, as far as protecting the football, running the ball effectively, and, you know, scoring in the red zone when we get there.
The Miami Dolphins also have a West Coast trip planned for the weekend. Don Shula is taking his troops to San Diego.
And now we have to go on the road. I tried to get Bobby Beathard to change it and come in to play us at Joe Robbie, but he wouldn't have any of that.
And now, the show the pros watch. Both the Chiefs and Dolphins were feeling good about their chances in the playoffs because they had the best pair of quarterbacks ever to play the game.
So good! So good!
While Joe Montana and Dan Marino got ready, 2 other giants of the sport had more important things to consider.
Somebody was talking the other day, I haven't seen anything like this since 1929 when Newt Rockne had phlebitis and they brought him out against Southern Cal on a stretcher and they propped him up and he coached from there.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. We were doing better than him, at least he got a golf cart.
Well, I got this other thing now. Where do you see that? It's a little motorized vehicle where, you know, you can move around on your own and then just stand up and use it as a crutch.
I'll tell you something about that first one. That first one was the toughest one out of all of them. We win that one is easy after that. Well, sort of easy, you know.
On the Chiefs' first drive, Montana did make it look easy, completing 6 passes in a row.
Montana wants to throw, has time, throws late. Derek Walker's got it at the back of the end zone. Touchdown, Kansas City.
An end zone replay reveals why Montana had so much time. With a good play fake to Marcus Allen, Montana caught Dolphins linebacker Jesse Solomon peeking into the backfield, and then found Derek Walker, leaving Solomon twisting in the wind.
I can taste the Super Bowl like I can taste this fish!
Chiefs fans' dreams were a bit premature, for Dan Marino is one fish that's hard to swallow, especially when the Dolphins called on the ghost of playoffs past and matched the Chiefs' score with one of their own.
Down to the 10, laterals to Saxon. He's at the 5.
All right, what an effort by Miami. And James Saxon, he was looking for the lateral this time.
Marino under center. Hands to Parmalee. Parmalee takes it up the middle. He's in. Touchdown.
All right, Miami, what a hole.
2 drives, 2 touchdowns. Kansas City ball, 3rd and 6 from their own 43-yard line.
7-7 tie, and 7 minutes left in the first quarter. Montana 5-step drop. Rifles a shot right side. Kimball Anders down the right sideline with the catch inside the 40 of the Dolphins. Breaking tackles 30, 25, 20. Kansas City, the longest play of Kimball Anders' career. Touchdown.
3 drives, 3 touchdowns. The Dolphins couldn't hold the pace, however, and settled for a field goal on their next possession. It was matched by the Chiefs, who now led 17-10 and braced for the final Miami drive of the first half.
Still not cover 3 now. Read the position.
If you feel the run action coming, but that tackle's standing up, it's a pass.
And oh, what passes they were. From the Chiefs' 10, Marino stared down a blitzing Kansas City linebacker and delivered a perfect pass to Aaron Craver. Then on a 3rd and goal from the 1, Marino adroitly sidestepped number 99 Vaughn Booker and found Ronnie Williams for his first pro touchdown.
He's back, he's under pressure, fires, complete touchdown to Ronnie Williams.
That's the way to play ball, baby. That's the way to play ball. I had to pull it back the first time. I know. When you held it out there, I just knew there was somebody coming to my back. I know.
In the first half, each team had the ball 3 times, and each team had scored 3 times. The game was becoming a masterpiece.
Come on now. Let's stand tall, man. Let's stand tall. Damn it. We're the team. Let's go after their ass one play at a time. Let's get the damn thing done. Let's go.
In the second half, the field continued to be tipped in the direction of whichever team had the ball. At the beginning of the second half, it was the Dolphins, and they would, in fact, take the lead 24-17.
He's got to punctuate it right now. Got to punctuate it right now. Make a statement. Punctuate it. Let's go, fellas. Ain't get sick.
Chiefs are blitzing. Here they come. Marino throwing the fade to Fryer. He's got it. Touchdown.
The Dolphins had their first lead and soon stretched it to 10, but this seesaw battle would be decided not by the team that had the ball last. It would be won by the team that played defense first. After Montana led a long drive to the Miami 5-yard line, that team turned out to be the Dolphins.
Here's the quick throw. It's intercepted by J.B. Brown at the 3-yard line. They tried to hit the quick slant pattern. J.B. Brown picked it off.
What a sensational play.
With another great play on KC's next possession, the Dolphin D put the Chiefs away.
Andrews in motion to the left side. Handoff to Marcus Allen. Try in the middle. Then he bounces out to the outside. He's to the 40, and he's down to the 35. Michael Stewart tried to tear that ball out of there. The Dolphins say, hey, yes! He's got it!
I mean, Michael Stewart is a regular Jesse James. He robbed Marcus Allen.
The Chiefs' 5th straight playoff season ends short of the Super Bowl, while Miami's continues in San Diego.
Don, good luck. Okay, take care, huh? All right. We love you. Love you, too. Good luck. Give them the hell. Go all the way.
Coming up, highlights of the Packers' dominating defense and a look at how they replace Sterling Sharp.
Coaches
on the Dallas Cowboys. Today, it's 31 degrees, and the Packers are playing the Detroit Lions, but it's the same thing. It's a playoff game to advance in the National Football League.
While Green Bay entered the playoffs without their best player, Sterling Sharp, Barry Sanders, the Lion King, was on the prowl, ready to run the Packers out of Lambeau Field.
Ball steps up. Gets even higher. Let's make sure that every single person on this team leaves everything that he got.
Nobody believes in us, baby. Nobody believes in us except for us.
No regrets. Dominate. No regrets. 1, 2, 3.
The burden of a Packer victory rested on the strong arm of Brett Favre, who patiently picked apart the Detroit defense with medium-range passes. Even without Sharp, a deep threat emerged.
Drop long over the middle out there. Chmura caught. Oh, great grab. Fingertip grab of the tight end. Chmura down to the Lions' 21-yard line. A well-thrown ball by Brett Favre.
4th down and inches, and Brett Favre wants him quiet. Here's Favre in the handoff. They go to the left side. Touchdown. Dorsey 11. Wow. Came off the left side.
Keep fighting your ass off. Keep fighting your ass off. Barry is no good on grass. He's no good on stone. I figure he'll be minus 20 by the end of the day.
The Packer defense took apart Sanders, piece by piece, play after play. Number 92, Reggie White, displayed both quickness and power, slicing through blockers or brutally overwhelming them. Wayne Fonte saw his game plan blown apart as the Packers dynamited his all-pro running back before he reached the line of scrimmage. The Lion King was tamed, humbled by these statistics: 13 carries for -1 yard.
Hey, we got to score here, man. We got to score.
Trailing 13-3, the Lions needed a spark from their special team.
We got to score right here, man. We start right here. Hey, get the money. We gonna get the money. That's bottom line.
You guys have done it time after time after time. I want you to dig down one more time and block your butts up now. We're gonna go Packer.
They'd like to kick away from Mel Gray if they could. Here's the kick. This is a high floater that's short. Gray's going to get an early start at this one at the 14-yard line. Juggled it for a moment, slipped as he tried to turn upfield. Now he finds a hole to the outside. Oh, we're in trouble. We are in big trouble with Mel Gray.
As usual, Mel Gray, number 23, became the rescuer of lost Lion causes.
Stop him. Chris Jackie can at the 40. Mel 30, 25-20, and down the sideline. Oh, a late hit there. Go now. Let's go, baby. Again looking left, fires to the corner again, up for Perriman this time. Yes, touchdown Lions.
In the gloaming of Lambeau Field, the sun had not yet set on the Detroit Lions as one final play would define their season.
Let's go, baby, let's go. Here we are.
Trailing by 6 points, and with it 4th and 14, the Lions desperately needed a leap of faith.
Hey, Herman! Alley-oop! Hey! Alley-oop! That thing what?
Craig straight back in the pocket. Craig looking. Then breaks down. He throws it up over the middle. And no good! No good! It was caught by Moore, but he caught it out of the end zone. Oh, my goodness. What a play, Jim.
Leaving nothing to chance, Packer punter Craig Hentrich took an intentional safety to preserve the 16-12 playoff victory.
And we'll kill the clock, and that's the game. And the Packers will advance to the second round. That's a heads-up play by the punter Craig Hentrich.
From whistle to gun, the Packer defensive line stood in the line of fire, an unflinching, unbreakable, unassailable unit, which completely repelled one of the game's greatest players. Their efforts propelled Mike Holmgren's team one step further into the playoffs, a rematch with the defending world champion Dallas Cowboys.
Great game. We have a lot of good luck to you. Let's go get it all the way. Hope we go all the way. I appreciate it. Okay, man.
Won both of the regular season meetings, but this time it's in the playoffs. The Vikings reign as NFC Central champs, but the Bears pushed them to overtime a month ago here at the Metrodome. The Vikes have the better team on paper, but Dave Wanstadt's Bears have surprised favorite teams before. Chicago hopes the third time this season is the charm.
Best part of the season right here. Playoff game at home.
Minnesota native Steve Walsh may have been happy to return home for the playoffs, but he did not seem nearly as pumped up for the game as the hometown team. The Vikings turned their pregame excitement into a first quarter of dominating defense.
Walsh is back to throw. He's looking. Cox is on the ball. Tipped in the air and picked off by Parker at the 45.
Minnesota was only able to capitalize on their big D with a field goal, however, before the Bears took over, scoring on a 1-yard run and then coming right back for more.
Receivers right, left backs are split. Walsh to the air. Steps and throws. Deep down left side. Graham is out there at the 30. Yes. Cuts it down, baby. To the 25. Hit by Washington. Breaks the tackle to the 20. Cutting left to the 15. Right. Down he goes at the 13-yard line. Fakes the handoff. Bootleg rolling right. Throws the right side of the end zone. He's got his man. Touchdown.
Chicago led 14-3, and time was running out in the half before the Vikings offense was finally able to find its rhythm. Amp Lee's 38-yard catch and run put Minnesota in scoring position.
Back goes Moon, fires the ball. Chris Carter! Touchdown, Vikings!
Whatever momentum the Vikings gained at the end of the second quarter, however, was lost at the beginning of the third.
Conway to the right, give Raymond Harris. Up the middle he goes. Harris runs past Del Rio, breaks the tackle to 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown, Chicago!
Harris's 29-yard run was the longest surrendered by the Vikings all year, and it would not be the end of their woes.
Come on, Jordan, catch the ball. Change it, baby. It's time to change it. Catch the ball now.
The tide was changing, and Warren Moon got dragged down in the undertow. Moon was pressured, pummeled, and sacked twice, while Steve Walsh stayed in the curl, and Jeff Graham surfed all the way to the end zone.
Walsh back to throw, launch the left side, going to touchdown, Chicago Bears! He beat Dwayne Washington in a marvelous touch pass down the left side by Steve Walsh. Great job.
Great job. Right here.
Down by 16 in the fourth quarter, the Vikings were holding on to only slim hopes until a 76-yard scoring drive pulled them back in the game. But they would need a touchdown and a two-point conversion to have a chance.
Four wideouts. Moon with a snap, backpedaling, looking to throw. Cox pump fake now. Scrambles in trouble. Backs out of the rush. He's off to his right and running. Cox is on and fires. It's caught by Anthony. Touchdown! Touchdown, Vikings!
They had the touchdown, but missed the two-point conversion. And then the Bears' defense took over.
We need to do our part to win this game, okay? We need to come up big up front, Al. We need to make a play, come up big up front.
It's up to us now. It's up to us. We can finish it right here.
Let's go.
Ismail in motion to the right on fourth down. Moon takes, back to throw. Moon steps and throws the right side. Got his face. Fumbles the football. It's scooped up. The Bears. Minifield down that sideline. Minifield to the 10 to the 5. Touchdown.
Kevin Minifield's touchdown capped off a 35-18 Bears victory.
I can come home again. I can come back home to Minnesota. Have bragging rights.
It's a good accomplishment for the whole team. It was a division win, as well as a playoff win. Everybody's very amped up. I saw a lot of people out there on the field today that were a lot more amped up than usual. We're on our way to San Francisco, we're trying to take it all the way, baby. All the way.
Coming up, highlights of Vinny Testaverde's perfect game and a look back at Raider great defensive back Willie Brown.
Well, you saw.
If the Cleveland Browns appeared to be just a wee bit over-anxious to take the field for their game with the Patriots, it was understandable. For this playoff match fast friends with a big difference. One, twice named Coach of the Year, was 8-3 in postseason. The other was a head coach in the playoffs for the first time.
Let's get started right now. 60 minutes of football all day. We only get one shot, man. We got to make the best of it.
Indeed, New England would manage merely a single sack as the best pass-protecting line in the league gave their quarterback time to count the house. On his opening series, Vinny Testaverde, making his playoff debut, threw accurately to wide-open receivers and drove his team downfield for the first score.
Stover, who is hit on 20 straight, comes out to try to give the Browns a 3-0 lead. The kick is on its way, and the kick is good. 21 in a row for Matt Stover. So the Browns take the opening kickoff and march down for 3 to take a 3-0 lead on the Patriots.
At the start of period 2, the NFL's stingiest defense allowed a lengthy Patriot drive, which culminated in the game's first touchdown.
As time is hit as he throws it, it's Thompson wide open at the 10.
Number 36, Leroy Thompson, scored what was only the 8th touchdown against Cleveland at home the entire season. On the next series, the Browns retaliated. All afternoon, Testaverde bought pocket time or ran for a first down, doing as much damage to the Patriots with his legs as his arm.
Let's go! Get up! Let's go! Come on, baby!
On a rollout, Vinny hit his mark.
Vinny looking, end zone. Now rushed right. Has a man open in the end zone. Throws. Touchdown, Browns. Mark Carrier. 5 yards from Testaverde. And the Browns have regained the lead.
Well, he made it happen with his feet. They couldn't cover as long as Vinny was scrambling back there. Mark Carrier coming across the field to find an open spot. And Vinny located him for the touchdown. First one that the Patriots have given up in 7 quarters.
The first half ended in a 10-10 tie.
Derek, block the corner!
The second half belonged to the Browns.
Block the corner!
Handoff is to Leroy Horde. He cuts it 5. Touchdown, Browns! Leroy Horde into the end zone. And the Browns go on top 16-10 with 2:21 remaining third quarter.
Good blocking on the right side of the Browns offensive line. Leroy able to bounce it off, and he found the lane and poured it in.
Nice job, Vinny. Good job, man.
Offensively, the Browns had the ball nearly 22 minutes in the second half. Defensively, the Dogs cooled the hottest passer in the league.
Let me tell him this. Yo, he blowing that whistle fast on that quarterback, dog. God, dog. So if he already thrown that mud, stay away from him.
Bledsoe back in the pocket, throws. Ball is tipped. Ball is intercepted by Turner. Eric Turner comes up big again.
The youngest Pro Bowl quarterback ever suffered 3 picks, 7 in 2 games against Cleveland this season. The Patriots' 7-game winning streak came crashing to the muddy turf of Cleveland Stadium. But while the Dog defense deservedly took their bows, the Browns were bested in a phase of football where they usually excel, special teams. Earlier in the game, Bill Parcells had surprised Cleveland with a fake punt.
O'Neal handles the good snap. It's a fake and a pass to the right side, complete. Down inside the 30-yard line and down to the 21 goes Corwin Brown. Beautiful. What a play.
Yeah, baby.
Now trailing by 7 with merely a minute and a half left in the game, the Patriots special teams struck again.
Barr bounces it. The ball is bouncing around and on the ground. I think they got it. They did.
New England had one last chance to tie the score, but it was the Patriots' last gasp.
The party has started as the teams start out towards the middle of the field, and the Browns have won it 20-13.
In this duel between the teacher and several of his prize students, the pupils prevailed.
That's a hell of a job this year, Bill. That's a hell of a job.
Take them all away. All right. I'll be rooting for you. Nice going. Glad for you guys. Thanks.
For the triumphant Browns, it's on to Pittsburgh for a 3rd game with their arch rival.
Here we come, Pittsburgh! Here we come!
Pittsburgh is a team that this year's been kind of like a thorn in our side. They find a way to manage to beat us, both times this year. Hopefully that 3rd one will be a charm for us.
That's one of the teams that we didn't play well against twice. And I think we want to go out there and if they can beat our best effort, then so be it. But we want to give them our best. And they haven't seen it yet.
This week on Inside the NFL, 49ers All-Pro Jerry Rice talks about the pressure surrounding quarterback Steve Young in this week's NFC title game.
The thing about him that I like now, he's not trying to be someone else. He's Steve Young. He's going to go out. He's going to have a great game. There's no doubt in my mind, and, the team is backing him 100%.
And Dallas Pro Bowl receiver Michael Irvin takes offense at hints the Cowboys won't challenge San Francisco's Deion Sanders.
I don't think we can get to the point where we can let any one person say, hey, you guys only use half of the field. I mean, we got to spread out a defense and try to take advantage of every opportunity we get.
And Chargers coach Bobby Ross reminds his troops that 1 game remains to reach their goal, a long-awaited first-ever Super Bowl appearance.
All right, super win, but we can't be too euphoric, man. We got one thing that we're coming for. What is that? That's the big one.
The Bears entered last week's playoff facing an insurmountable obstacle in the 49ers. The good news was that Chicago scored first.
Gardocki down on one knee, waiting for the snap. Here it is, placement made. The kick sails to the uprights, and it is good.
The bad news was this solitary salvo was merely a preamble to disaster. With obvious determination, San Francisco took control of the game on the very next series and played like the team they are, the best team in football. San Francisco has an offense that totals 9 current or former All-Pros in the lineup. Last week they showcased a future one in William Floyd, who scored 3 touchdowns.
Young with a handoff. Floyd dives into the end zone. Touchdown, 49ers.
That made a statement by the 49ers, not only coming back after an early turnover.
Chicago made the decision to completely ignore the NFL's Defensive Player of the Year. Such respect left Deion Sanders alone to twiddle his thumbs while the Bears went after more promising aerial targets. Deion was a non-factor statistically, but a huge factor tactically, as Steve Walsh went after the left side of the Niner defense.
Back to throw as Walsh steps up, lobs it way down the right side. This one could be picked. It is! Eric Davis takes it away for San Francisco. As Walsh goes back to throw and sends it deep middle, and it's picked off. 49ers have it again. Merton Hanks.
Not surprisingly, the player who had the most impact was Steve Young.
Young carries it in himself. He dives into the end zone after he saw nobody open. He then slams the ball down after he got hit. And now a fight breaks out in the back of the end zone between the two teams.
Sacked 4 times, Eric Kramer fared no better in the second half than Steve Walsh had in the first. Chicago was the only playoff team that had allowed more points during the season than it had scored. In the last quarter, they snapped a string of 37 straight points when rookie defensive tackle Jim Flanagan, operating as a blocking back, snuck into the flat untouched. Due to their thorough thrashing of the Bears, San Francisco, not Chicago, remained in the Super Bowl chase. A 44-15 rout propelled them into their 3rd straight championship game against the Dallas Cowboys.
Next week the Candlestick, baby. Next week. Anybody coming through here got to come through us. Showdown next week. Showdown time next week. Might be the real Super Bowl. One more week. One more week. Let's hope we don't have it like we did the last time we played here. We've lost 3 NFC championships in a row. We're going to try and win one of these things.
Coming up, highlights of the Dolphins-Chargers thriller. The town and its team were emotionally charged, but did this sound and the fury signify nothing? Or was it a clarion call for a 3rd straight NFL championship?
You have it, baby, today. You got to fight it with some intensity and get out to their ass.
The best man win. Yeah, baby, that's it. It's you against him. Either he kicks your ass or you kick his ass. If you're about a man, you ain't going to let that shit happen. Ain't going to be no decision, baby. It can't be like that.
An ominous sign for Green Bay was that the Cowboys stars that limped through the regular season appeared robust and eager to defeat the Packers for the 4th straight time. Cowboys offense dominated the Packers from whistle to gun and displayed the precision that makes it almost impossible to defend. The eyes of Texas were on Emmitt Smith.
Handoff, Smith up the middle, touchdown, dances in, untouched. Welcome back, Emmitt Smith. How's your hamstring?
Don't worry about it.
With Emmitt Smith running freely, Troy Aikman throwing perfect passes, and Michael Irvin carving out precise routes. All the pieces of their intricate offensive puzzle fit together again.
Quick pass out. Oh, great catch at the 33 on a slant by Irvin. And he pulls away to the 45, and he's still going to block.
For big plays, the game plan was designed to attack Packer cornerback Terrell Buckley.
Terrell Buckley. Throw the ball against Terrell Buckley every time. He cannot cover.
Come on, baby. You're the man. You're the man. Let's go, Troy. Come on, baby. Take it on.
The one big play that turned this game around came on a 1st and 10 from the Cowboys' 6-yard line.
Motion right, Aikman, play fake to throw it out of the end zone. Deep ball to the middle. Here's Harper at the 45. He caught it. Left to the 40 of the Packers. Down the sideline to the 20. An inside move to the 10. He broke away. He scored. He scored. 94 yards.
How predictable is that ball? Tell me again, how predictable.
Matched up against the 6'3" wide receiver, the 5'9" Buckley, number 27, never had a chance.
Harper had separated by about 5 yards. A perfect throw in stride. A man who had caught only 2 balls in the month of December fumbled one of those away, goes 94 yards for the touchdown.
The longest touchdown pass in Cowboys playoff history.
Come on, Pack.
The NFL's #1 defense lived up to its lofty rating. Forced to run uphill for 60 minutes, the feeble Packer running game was met at the pass by an avalanche. The Packer passing attack, however, proved a tougher nut to crack.
Double pass now. Don't go to sleep over here now. Just because he throws a quick pass, stay at home for a little bit on the backside.
On every pass, the Cowboys put a helmet on Brett Favre.
3rd down and 9, and Favre is back. He's flushed out and he's sacked. The first sack of the day, and Jeff Coates the one that got him.
While they took Favre out of his game, the Cowboys lost something even greater.
Stretch him out. He's in a great deal of pain with that hamstring re-aggravated.
It's okay. You're all right. You're all right. We have to chill, man. We got next week, dog. We gonna whip this ass.
A hole larger than the one at Texas Stadium had to be filled by Blair Thomas, number 32. Thomas, a dismal failure with both the Jets and Patriots, was ironically drafted 15 spots ahead of Emmitt Smith in 1990. The reborn runner rushed for 70 yards and scored twice.
Go, Cowboys!
Pitch left to Thomas. A block from Johnston. I could have scored on that block.
What a great block on the outside by Daryl Johnston, and again he goes in standing up.
Aikman handoff. Thomas up the middle, diving. Touchdown, Blair Thomas. Up over the top of Mark Tuinei, who leveled his guy.
That should be the one to seal it for the Dallas Cowboys if there was going to be any doubt about this thing.
With their 35-9 victory, the Cowboys emphatically kissed off the Packers.
Nothing but you freak. Way to go.
What you need to do, you got them go spend some money for some new defensive backs, because you ain't going to win no games here.
All we need to do is get a plane ticket and make his reservations for the vacation. That's what we need.
They've been waiting all year long to go play the 49ers in the championship game. It's exactly what everybody said would happen and now it's going to happen.
San Francisco, you're next. Cowboys, we're going back to the Super Bowl. 3 in a row.
In Pittsburgh, it was being hailed as World War III, an unprecedented third meeting in one season with the arch-rival Cleveland Browns. The first two battles had already been won by the Steelers.
Beat them once, beat them twice, 3 times a charm, baby. It's a charm, it's a charm.
This, however, was the biggest game ever in this long-standing rivalry. The first time ever the Steelers and Browns were meeting in the postseason. In this bitter feud, never before had so much been at stake.
Tell you what, one play at a time. For 60 minutes, we control the tempo in our home, baby. Let's go.
The tone was set on the Browns' first series.
Throwing down the right sideline, the pass is caught. No, it's dropped by Derek Alexander. He was wide open. 3rd down and 9. He's straight back. And he steps forward, and he throws the ball to the near sideline on the comeback. It's dropped by Derek Alexander 2 times in a row.
Holy smokes! This Derek Alexander, the rookie, he seems to have a bad case of playoff butterflies.
Couple drop balls, we're fine, all right? Don't panic. Hey, we've been here before. Just stick to your knitting out there. Keep playing hard. We're doing some good things in the run game. Keep the protections on. We're going to start catching, and we're going to convert, all right? Just keep your poise out there.
Unfortunately for Vinny Testaverde, the only sure hands seem to belong to the Steelers.
He's not open, and the pass is intercepted by the Steelers at the 2-yard line. Darren Perry with an unbelievable over-the-shoulder interception.
DP, that's nice, baby. That's nice.
While the Browns' offense was mired in mistakes, the Steelers' attack relentlessly pounded ahead again and again. The bruising Barry Foster found huge rushing lanes and rumbled for a game-high 133 yards. But the Steelers had the same success no matter which back they plugged in.
Give it to John L.
3rd and 2 at the Cleveland 26. The give is to the fullback, and that's John L. He's got first down to more. 20, 15, 10. There goes John L. Williams breaking out of the pile and going for the Steeler touchdown. 26 yards.
John L. Williams come through that line, which was again beating the brains out of the Cleveland Brownies, and the Steelers are path to them Browns.
It was hard-hat, lunch pail football that chewed up 238 yards on the ground and worked up quite an appetite for Pittsburgh's blue-collar backs.
Right now, man, I just feel like if I can just give me a big steak, baked potato, man, I'll be all right now. You know what I'm saying? I'm home, man. I'll buy you one today. Hey, let's do it, man.
Actually, the day's blue plate special was served up by Testaverde.
There was a hold back there that wasn't intercepted at the 25, the 20. Here comes Tim McKyer to the 10. He's down to the 5-yard line. Timmy McKyer stepped in front of Derek Alexander, and the Steelers have turned the tables on the Browns.
Tim McKyer's interception late in the first half set up the Steelers to build a 24-3 lead.
Throw it! Throw it!
Back is O'Donnell on 3rd and 9, and he takes it and he throws it into the end zone for the Steelers touchdown. Pulling it in is Yancey. Big Pen. Carl Banks beaten on the play, and the Steelers punch it in. This place goes crazy.
Look at Yancey with that terrible towel that he carries in his hand warmer. He gets right off the ground, waves his towel, does a little minor dance with it because he ain't into that sort of thing.
The terrible towel has been poised and has struck.
It is a thoroughly humiliating day for the Cleveland Brownies that will live in Cleveland in infamy.
Hey, listen, everything we're doing is working. Don't think that you got to make a play out there. These are not as good as we are, all right? One play at a time, but keep bringing the heat. That's what it's all about, all right?
In the fourth quarter, the Steelers' defense applied the finishing touches to the lopsided victory.
Spinning in the end zone. He's trapped. He's going to be hit. Safety. Darnell Lake has him. And down goes Vinny for a 2-pointer.
Who we play? Miami, San Diego. We're going to the bowl, y'all.
Gotta get there.
We're going there.
Gotta get there.
It will be the Chargers who the Steelers look to pour it on against this Sunday.
The Steelers sweep the Browns in round 3. And the Steelers advance to the AFC Championship game.
It's a hell of an effort, and we ought to enjoy it. I'm going to tell you something. We still have to accomplish something. That's right. We got a hell of a thing right now and an opportunity. Next week, same place, same time, and I don't care who we play.
You just saw a very happy Bill Cowher, and why not? His defense, led by All-Pro linebacker Greg Lloyd, has peaked at just the right time. Brian Burwell takes a closer look at the most feared player on the league's most feared defense.
It's Tuesday in Pittsburgh, and it's a pro football player's most valued day, his day off. It's a time to rest, a time to mend, a time to soothe that aching body from the violence of pro football's playoff wars. It's 5 days before the AFC Championship game. Yet, Pittsburgh linebacker Greg Lloyd is not resting. In fact, you wouldn't believe how this man spends his day off. Know this about Greg Lloyd. Jerry Glanville once called him the meanest man in football. He's fierce, intimidating, a 4-time Pro Bowler who takes no prisoners on the football field. Yet early in his NFL career, Lloyd discovered that sometimes just being mean isn't enough. Injuries early in his career had kept him from being the best and eventually drew him to Taekwondo, looking for answers.
I've been doing it now for 6 years, actually. In April, I believe, of this year, will be going on 7 years. And one of my ex-teammates, Terry Long, when I first came into the league, was involved in it. And in my first 2 years, I had major knee, reconstruction knee surgery on my left knee. My second year in the league, I tore my right knee, and I was out for half this year. As part of the rehab, I mean, I came in, I did the weights, but I think it was, like I said, I think it was more Terry Long, listening to him talk and actually going over and meeting Grandmaster Kong for myself and seeing, what he had to offer.
He shows interest that, he wants to take lessons. And when I just look at him, he looked distinguished, different. He's very determined, and then I told him that, you know what, you train Taekwondo very hard. Eventually, it's going to compensate you a lot.
For all the stretching that we do, what it does, it cuts down on injuries, getting piled up and, things of that nature. You're taught how to just, to relax your body.
5 years ago, he earned his black belt, and now Lloyd has been able to take the knowledge he has learned in the dojo and, if you look carefully, find some rather effective uses on the football field.
Believe me, I tried not to use it, but if I just got a guy who's just wow, and I'm gonna calm him down real quick. That's what you do, and you let him, you get him to think it. That hurt. I might not want to do that again.
Beyond this great physical edge, Lloyd learned something of far more benefit from his martial arts discipline: mind over matter.
We all know that football games, those close ball games, when you're playing, two good teams are playing, essentially going to be won in the fourth quarter. I mean, I get tired like the next guy, but it becomes state of mind after a while. That's what the Taekwondo brings into football. It's a state of mind. It's about really taking your body and pushing it so far, and pushing it farther than you probably ever thought you could push it before.
The fire, the passion, the intimidation, the controlled anger. It's an intoxicating emotional package that leaves no doubt who the spiritual leader of this Blitzburg defense truly is.
Hey, listen, these can't beat us, and we ain't gonna beat ourselves. That's the name of the game.
He's been a very good leader for us all season long, and I think that what happens is you get everybody trying to raise their competitive level and their work habits to what Greg's are.
I have a lot of respect for both sports, a lot of respect for the both of them. But that's what it, like I said, that's what it has taught me. It has taught me to, yes, I can. I can do it one more time. When I think I can, do it one more time. It might not be as fast, and it might not be as strong, but I can do it. And any day that's better than not doing it at all.
Next week, relive the 2 championship games through the unique and unparalleled lenses of NFL film.
Oh no, there is no quit in Greg Lloyd. The team he's playing this week, the San Diego Chargers, they have a middle linebacker by the name of Junior Seau. There is no quit in him either.
No, and he wears a Superman cape out there for San Diego, Lenny, but his job is multi. The big thing this week, he's going to have to jump on Eric Green, disrupt his patterns, and play action passes in order to give San Diego a chance.
Now, Junior Seau is going to have to watch Eric Green, but the main man is going to be Barry Foster. Ever since he had those couple of weeks off to let his back heal up, he's beginning to look like the back that rushed for 12 100-yard games a couple of years back. He's really the key.
You know, if Junior Seau can stop Eric Green and the running game, he gets my vote as the Defensive Player of the Year. You know, the Steelers have a date with the Chargers. San Diego earned their way into the title game with a hard-earned victory, a thrilling one, over the Miami Dolphins.
This is a 60-minute ball game. A 60-minute ball game. You've got to keep pounding the whole 60 minutes. All the way. You understand? For 60 minutes, lay it on the line. All right, on 3, break on 3, 1, 2, 3, 1.
In the first 30 minutes of this divisional playoff contest, Miami's Dan Marino proved to be unstoppable.
Marino takes the snap. He throws. Complete touchdown, Dolphins. Keith Jackson.
Sweet. Jackson wide open in the end zone.
Dan Marino with a dart to Keith Jackson in the end zone. And the Dolphins draw first blood in this one.
Marino dissected the Chargers' defense as his offensive line cleared sightlines that number 13 turned into easy touchdown passes.
Back to pass Marino. He's looking. He throws. Complete to Jackson. He's in. Touchdown, Dolphins.
All right, Miami. What a tremendous drive.
They can't cover us. They can't stop. Cannot cover.
Marino's observation proved to be right on the money as he passed for 206 yards in the first half alone against the shell-shocked Chargers secondary. Worse for the Chargers than the yards were 3 touchdown passes that gave the Dolphins a 21-6 halftime lead.
And Marino throws. It's complete to the 5. It's a touchdown, Mike Williams. Touchdown, Miami.
And the Dolphins have taken absolute, complete control of this game. Man, oh man, oh man, Marino is sizzling.
Miami was now only 30 minutes away from the AFC Championship game, and the Dolphins further enhanced their chances when they turned back the Chargers' first threat of the third quarter.
4th down and goal. Chargers are knocking at the door. They're going to give it to Means, trying to come left.
Does he get into the end zone? No! The Dolphins hold it. All right!
However, the next play would turn the game around.
First down, they try to run it out of the end zone. The tackle is made down on the goal line. The Chargers are signaling safety. Yes! They got a safety! Reuben Davis comes up with a tackle behind the line of scrimmage, which is in the end zone.
Suddenly, the momentum had switched as the Chargers bolted back into the game on the hard running of Natron Means, number 20.
For the Dolphins, Means is the running back. They're going to run it to Natron, coming right, trying to get a block. He pushes Jonathan, 20, to the 15, to the 10, down to the 5, down to the 1. Touchdown! San Diego!
San Diego closed the gap to 21-15 with 1 quarter left to play. It would be a strange and frantic final period as both teams struggled to make the game's decisive play. The results would produce excitement as well as controversy.
Complete to Jackson at the 30. He's out to the 35. He tried the lateral. It's a loose ball. The Chargers have it.
The Chargers were only 35 seconds away from their first AFC Championship appearance in more than a decade. But it would be the Dolphins who would make the game's final and fleeting gasp for victory.
Get out your lucky rabbit's foot.
Right.
Cross your fingers. If you got a 4-leaf clover,
Here we go.
rub on that too.
This is a 48-yard attempt to win the game. Pete Stoyanovich.
To win the game for Miami and send them on to Pittsburgh in the AFC Championship. High snap, it's down, on the way, it looks long enough. No! San Diego has won! The Chargers have won the game! The San Diego Chargers have beaten the Miami Dolphins. Final score, 22-21. Blitzburg, here comes a lightning bolt.
It had taken one of the great comebacks in playoff history. But when it was over, San Diego had overcome one of the NFL's greatest quarterbacks to win a spot in pro football's Final Four.
All right, listen up. All right, super win. But we can't be too euphoric, man. We got one thing that we're coming for. What is that? That's the big one. So now we got to get ready for Pittsburgh, okay?
What an exciting finish, and this is the only guy that picked the Chargers. You know all about that.
Oh, yeah. Toot his horn.
Yeah, well, the Chargers got to travel to that cold atmosphere of Three River Stadium to take on the Pittsburgh Steelers this week. You know, last week the Cleveland Browns came into Pittsburgh. They had given up the fewest number of points in the National Football League, and what happened? The Steelers crushed them. Let's talk about this game. In order to do that, ladies and gentlemen, we must bring back that old meanie himself, Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy, you know, for the Chargers, Natron Means is the key. He's going to have to run successfully with the football. He did it last week, but can he do it this week against that Pittsburgh defense?
Well, Lynn, when you look at the Pittsburgh defense, and as the year's gone on, I've really been impressed with what they're doing with all their linebacker stunts, giving the opponents bad plays. And they give you a lot of stunts, but they play zone coverage behind it, so they're not giving up the big plays. The best thing to do against a stunning defense like that is run the counter gap, you know, counter sweep, whatever you want to call it, where the tight ends and the tackles block down, they pull the guards or the tight ends, and they run the sweep. That's how Natron Means made his yards on Miami last week. They rushed for over 200 yards, and Natron Means had a big portion of that. If Pittsburgh's going to be successful in this game, they've got to stop that play.
Yeah, but Jimmy, they were successful running that play against the Miami linebackers, not these Pittsburgh Steelers linebackers. When I look at the Steelers defense, they are so fast. I just don't think that counter OT is going to have much success in this ball game because Chad Brown, Levon Kirkland, the inside linebackers for Pittsburgh, they will beat that play to the hole. Now, they may not make the tackle on Natron Means, but they're going to at least knock off those lead blockers and should be able to shut down that very effective play for San Diego.
That's the defensive game plan, Chris. The offensive game plan is very simple. Bill Cowher goes to Neil O'Donnell and says, don't lose the game. We're going to take Barry Foster and we're going to run him behind Pro Bowlers, Dermontti Dawson and Duval Love. Why? Because we match up very well against Leslie O'Neal and Chris Mims from the San Diego Chargers. What they're going to do is simple. Run the football, play action passes to Eric Green, and no turnovers.
You know, the Steeler offensive line got some help. Unfortunately, defensive lineman Sean Lee of the Chargers underwent arthroscopic surgery. Extremely doubtful if he can play, but if he does play, I don't think he'll be very effective. But now it's time, ladies and gentlemen, to pick who's going to win this game and by what score. First, let's bring in Jimmy Johnson.
Well, Lynn, I like really the Chargers to come up short on this game. I think Pittsburgh's going to win it 24-13 because they don't turn it over, fewest in the league, and they're playing at home.
You know, Jimmy, the terrible towel is something that the fans in Pittsburgh wave quite nicely, but that's something that I think has further united this football team to be a team of destiny. Now, I look at the city of Pittsburgh, Lenny. They don't have as many blast furnaces as they did when the Super Bowl teams of the 70s won, but this team's going to turn up enough heat to melt San Diego 24-10.
Blast, turn up the heat, the guy's got it all. This could be a very quick game because you know what both teams want to do, run with the football. There'll be two tight ends in the ball game for both of them. I think it's going to be the Pittsburgh Steelers winning it 24-10.
Lenny, the big mismatch in this game comes in Pittsburgh's secondary against the wide receivers for San Diego. Rod Woodson and Deon Figures should be able to just absolutely blanket the wide receivers from San Diego. That's going to allow Carnell Lake to come out of the middle from his free safety position, strong safety position, come up and help against that run, and Natron Means I think Pittsburgh wins it big, 28-10.
Well, this is getting pretty boring, isn't it, that we all agree on both of these games? Boring, but we are right, folks. The state of California may produce both Super Bowl teams this year, but it will still be sad if the Rams move to St. Louis. Now, for over 45 years, the Rams have played their football in Southern California. And on this week's Where Are They Now?, we look at one of their greatest receivers, Jack Snow.
Here is J.T. Snow to lead things off against Kramer. Swing and a long fly ball. Deep to right. It is well struck. It's gone.
I walk 47 miles of barbed wire. As Jack Snow watches his son carry on the family name, it can only bring back memories of his youthful days when he was one of the best wide receivers to ever put on a uniform for the Fighting Irish and the Los Angeles Rams. At Notre Dame, it was John Hewitt, the number 85. And with the Rams, it was Roman Gabriel, the number 84. From 1965 to 75, Jack Snow had over 6,000 yards receiving with 45 touchdowns. Not known for his speed, the All-American was one of the toughest wide receivers in the game and earned his money over the middle.
Bullet Bob Hayes, he had the speed. Paul Warfield, man, he had the swerving moves. Bernie Casey had one of the greatest corner moves in the game. I couldn't be like those guys. But the one thing that I would do would be to catch the ball in a crowd or with a guy hanging on me, and I knew I had to do that. And that's what kept me around a lot.
And when the Rams played their home games in the shadows of Hollywood, you never knew who you'd run into on the sidelines.
I ran a deep out, caught the ball from Gabe, and tiptoed my feet right before I went out of bounds. And the first guy I nailed was Telly Savalas. He knocked his hat off, that ball head glistened, his cigar was squished in his mouth. And I thought, oh my God, I've killed Kojak. I said, excuse me. I said, are you all right, Mr. Savalas? And this isn't the heat of a ball game. I mean, this is a close game, and this is a big first down. And I want to make sure that Kojak is okay. He says, get the hell out of here. I'm fine. Nice catch, by the way, he said. So, yeah, that Tinseltown, it has its advantages.
Well, even today, the spotlight hasn't left Snow. In his 13th year as a broadcaster and still applying the lessons learned from the veteran Lindsey Nelson, Jack works for KMPC Radio covering the Rams.
Key problem for the Rams, getting the ball in good field position, but not doing anything with it.
As an ex-player, he's been walking a journalistic tightrope.
Lining up offside.
I have a good time with them, but they're there and I'm here, and we've got to keep that little space between us because I've got a job to do, as do they. So I don't want to go out with them and have a beer after practice or get a pizza. I want to do my job, and it's see them, speak to them at team functions, at team dinners, the night before a game, the morning of the game. But I want the professionalism always to be there between the two of us.
The two constants in Jack's life are his wife of 29 years and living in Southern California. Today, the 51-year-old spends most of his free time playing racquetball, working out, and getting out to the ballpark to watch his son JT play first base for the California Angels.
It's nothing as great as watching your own son participate on the athletic field. Seeing him perform as a professional athlete at that level after the father had done it, even though it's a different sport, I mean, it's an awesome experience.
They say no two snowflakes are alike. And with this father-son combination, that holds true. For the Snow family, it's been the stuff California dreams are made of.